Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Let's start. So last week was really amazing, and I think the last couple months of our trading is amazing. All the traders are doing very well. So let's start where we are. Dollar index going down. So I think now we can almost confirm the downside. This pattern in the top here is it's a little complex. I think we can either argue that we might make a running flat. I believe there's a possibility for a running flat in the making, or we have a contracting flat in the middle there. Any of those two would work because there was some consolidation in here. And remember, we couldn't figure out what the hell they're trying to do here. You can make an argument for a contracting flat here, which leave this one very small. So I don't like that pattern, as I said, but we do have patterns like that. I would prefer if this come back up here and we go for running flat. That with this in mind. Right, with that piece in mind and this piece in mind, we can argue for running flat, or even this entire piece. I would probably go with this entire piece as the B wave, and the 1, 2, 3 come back up like this, give us this running flat, and then downside. That is a possibility, but we have to bear in mind that that might not be, and this is a contracting flat and we're dropping, right? So where would it go? Well, I think finally we might conclude that we're going to break this daily low. We're about to do that now. And it's pretty similar to this move. Remember, I showed you this sometime a month or so ago, and when this move started up, that we could get it as big as that before they drop, and this drop will break the low. I'm pretty sure now we're going to break that low, after which we're going to be heading upside. So how far they need to break the low before they go? Well, that's just a guesswork. We'll just wait, follow the structure, and when it turns, it turns. But when it breaks the low, every turn we'll try to trade up. As a matter of fact, already now, any turn you get, you should try to trade up, right? Because we don't know that it still doesn't be a contracting flat. I don't think it will be, because remember when they started to come down sharp, we assumed that it's not going to be. Because this is very sharp, that's a small correction, that's exactly the way they trend, right? So what we look for here now is a correction today and a drop, correction and a drop. Let's see how deep this comes. I don't know if it's going to be a running flat, it will come deep. We might even get a buy setup. Right now, we don't have that. So, by the way, Friday, we had some very good trades on these drops, right? Nice buys and sells. We had some traders did very well. So we're going to look at this. If we get a flag here, you could start to buy it up because it could be deep if they're going to repeat this for a running flat. It might not be deep, which means it might just be a shallow one, which means they just give you a flag, go like this and drop. You'll have to get out for break even and definitely go for the sell. We don't have a sell setup as yet. I don't think this is I don't think this is making, after this move, you'll probably make a correction like this and then probably drop. Now, they can drop today because if this could continue to drop, which means you will see it drop here. But these drops you have to be careful of because they will just break the low and any one of them can reverse very fast for the first impulse and that will take you out. Right? You're going to use a stop somewhere here and you'll be taken out. You use a stop. If you get another drop, you get a flag. These are very small drops, which means if you manage to get in at a good spot and get out at a good spot immediately after they break the low with a good risk to reward, that's okay. Otherwise to that, I think we wait for some kind of a correction, not as big as this. Well, depend. If we're going for a sharp one for a running flat, and I believe it's possible a running flat, it will be like this. Sorry. It'll be probably like this one. If it's a running flat. If it is not any flag, any correction here is a good sell. Probably a little smaller than this, not as big as that. But if they make it as big as that, better for us. And then we're expecting it to come down, right? Then you're definitely expecting, if they do this, we're expecting to come down here. Or if they make a smaller one, we're expecting it to drop. And then you're going to have a few of those smaller ones like this, and then not so big, and then drop again, smaller, and then drop again, a few small ones and drop. Or they make a deep one. This could be a series of drops as well. But this low is highly going to break. There's a 90% chance we're going for that low, which means we'll have to see what the other structures are doing, like silver going up. It's still going up. So silver, we still didn't get this on Friday, and then we look back at the charts, and you always, when you see something happen that didn't go the way you expected to go, you start to think, well, where I might have gone wrong with the pattern. And it's still possible it could happen, right? It's still possible that they could drop here today, and we will go back and we will say, okay, that is it. Because remember, you're focusing these patterns ahead of time, and sometimes they take a while before you can complete it and see, well, okay, that is the pattern, especially in a higher time frame. On the 1 hour, they might take a day, a week or so, a day to a week for you to see the pattern. It depends on how much the consolidation is. Remember, this one was pretty much the same thing. It took a while. So I don't know if we're still going to get this one sharp here, or if we will eventually have to go and make this the running flat. Because this one it has a three-wave structure. It could be a flat standalone, but it's pretty sharp. So sometimes you'll have to find this. And then if we get a consolidation here that takes off, we're buying. So we were already buying now. So once you break the top, you're looking for buy setup. So what would be the trade today? Right now, there's a move down, but that is telling me we're going to continue to go up. See this piece here? We got a small one here, very similar to this. We got this consolidation here, which is similar, but we broke the top. So when this comes here, we're going back up. It's going to be a small one. And it's likely going to come here, and then we're going back up because that's a running flat. The advantage of this is we know that this is going to go back up. And that means if this continues to go up, it's either just going to break the top and drop to complete this pattern, or it continues to go, and then we will put this as the running flat for the back, on the back end. So we would know what that trade is today. I think on the 15 minutes this morning, we can get a short sell setup. You have to be very careful with it because, you know, there's a number of smaller waves in here that needs to complete. There's a one here and then this one here. I think that's the one we're looking for. And then you can, this is a separate one of its own, and that's the impulse that end this move. So once this come here, you're going to go up. If you don't get the sell, go for the buy. We're definitely going for the buy because that's a small running flat for upside. I'm on the 50. So there is a small trade to come down here. I'm not sure, like, again, how low it will come and if we'll get it. So maybe it's not even worth trying to get because it's only this. And that means from starting from this top, they can just do that. Maybe this one doesn't go. They do a few more of this. Then you get it and then you go. So the best thing might be waiting for this to happen and then get the buy. But the sell might be worth taking too. We don't know if it becomes an expanding flat. See? So there is that possibility for a short sell. You have to get out for break even if it doesn't go far and then go for the buy. Gold is not going anywhere. So we're still in a consolidation. And we'd assume that since we've moved this much up, we can put gold into this pattern. I think we had this sharp one here that didn't go anywhere, and we were trying to fit it with these pieces in here. And, you know, these pieces have a complete 1, 2, 3 pattern. So we have this sharp one, and I think, well, we could always make an argument for either this, or we can with this short, or we can make an argument for this. What if we look at it this way, right? This is the correction down. That is an impulse up, and this is an impulse up. That would make an expanding flat. See? But then you have one down and one down. That'd make a running flat because we broke the top. So you can make a series of patterns there that will show you, you know, hindsight, you see it much better. Like this one. We still don't have anything for this. You could either go with this as a flat of its own. See? Or we could still get it in the future. We still don't know whether we're going to get that in the future. We don't know whether it's going to happen today. That could still happen. It will still be the running flat. If we look at it that way, this could still make a running flat here. Well, it will first have to drop, make a deep correction here, then drop and then go. We've seen long drawn out running flats like that. So we'll keep that in mind, but that shouldn't stop the trading we're doing right now. So right now we're in this, and this looks like a short-term sell. If you look at it in the 15, you can see all the consolidations inside. So you've got a 1, 2, well, this looks like 3 up there. I'll go with this as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You have a 1. This is a short one, but it's coming down. So we'll go for this one now. I think we're going to go for that one. And then there's still probably one more up. And by the time you get back to the top there, there's one more down. And then that is upside. So we're unlikely going to get, if it falls only now, if it falls really strong. But we still have a few sharp waves in there to complete. We're right now in the B part of it. We're trying to complete this one, that small one. So the sell here, if you take it again, if you take this sell, it might just do this and go right back up. See that sharp spike? It give you a sharp spike up. Depends on where you're stopped. You can be stopped out, and then it could come back here and then go. I think you can take the sell, but you have to really be careful. I'll probably wait for this to finish and then go for the buy. What if it really drops? Well, it could. If you look at this as a contracting flat, if you look at the whole structure from this point as a contracting flat, and then you put as, you find the contracting pieces in there, it could work. But I don't think this is a contracting flat. We've already seen contracting flats like this. They still have at least one of the sharp waves distinct. If you have 1, 2, 3 sharp waves, one of them should be clear. We don't have that. So I think we're going to stay here for a while. drop a little, go back up, come back down, and then take off. So maybe by New York session, we get a buy setup. Perfect buy setup. Euro, it's pulling back. Did we break the top on the daily, or that's just the lower top? Oh, that's the lower top. I was wondering. We're still very far. The daily top is here, right? So Euro is going up, and we're heading for this daily top now. We are totally out of this, right? We're still in the correction zone, but we broke the trend line, and we're moving really fast. It's very aggressive. 4 hour, you had a correction. Well, you had a move down. It's either all the correction. That is possible. We can go with this is all the correction because this is really sharp, right? We're not going to get, this is not a P wave part of it. So you're definitely going to continue to go. And which means we just wait for correction here. Any correction you get there is a buy setup. Probably has to come back a little more. I think we're going to see this come back a little more. And there's a good chance we might be looking at this. So you can look for an upside. There's a good chance we get a buy setup this morning, or it will consolidate more and then we get a buy setup, right? So look for buy setups, and that should take us closer to this, right? It's about a couple of hundred pips remaining to finish. They can finish that in a few days. About 400 pips. 2 or 3 impulses and you finish, right? So correction, impulse, and that's it. Maybe one more of that. So we still have about 3 trades more to the top. And then we'll watch it from there, how much more it goes before it turns, because they will complete the weekly structure. Okay. It complete this one. And once they complete that, I think we're heading downwards. You can easily assume that once that is finished, we're going down, right? So we go back to the hourly and let's look for buy setups this week. Can they actually come back and make a deeper correction before it goes? It's possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible that this here could stop right here and come back to make a much deeper correction here before they go, right? We can't see that possibly happen now, right? It could, because we don't have anything telling us that's going to happen. This is going, we don't have divergence, and this is going very well. But if they make a sudden drop and you don't get the first drop in it, then you understand that we're making a bigger correction, and then you can trade it. Then we'll start to look for setups. But for now, we're looking for buy setups. Pong? Pong, the only thing we got was that surprised us of the breakout. We had this flat. It was when they started to make this big flat inside. And we thought well, probably they're going to continue this. One more down and then go. And well, it turns out they didn't do that. They actually break out. That is just a deep correction inside. And now we have a similar structure with this piece. We had a correction here. We had a correction here. And then we make that. We got a correction here. We go. So maybe we'll get one more correction and go. That's possible. Do we have divergence? Yes, we do. So even if you get another impulse with divergence, it's downside. Now, is that downside going to be total downside? So let's look back at this chart. There are 2 ways you can look at this right now. One way is, okay, this is a running flat. We're going to break the top and then turn. All right, we'll go break that top and turn. Assuming that this would come, it will break this top, and then we're going to go down. Whether either for a deeper correction or totally retest of the low. If we think dollar index is going to totally go up, euro is totally coming down, the chances are this would follow for a bigger running flat here, right? That's one option. Second option is, let's say Pong is doing its own thing. Pong has nothing to do with those. Pong is just going to continue to go. This by itself cannot continue to go without a bigger correction here. So if dollar index takes off and pound goes down, we could see that this makes a down move, but not as an impulse, but as a correction. So it either will correct downwards until everything is ready to go back up, or it will drop. Either way, we can trade it. It doesn't matter which one of those two we do. What matters, are we turning now? And this could start to turn much earlier than the dollar index or than the euro. Or are we going to go break the top? When you look at the 4 hours, it's not looking like they're trying to go to break the top. This piece is very sharp. We don't have divergence we do have divergence. I'm sorry. We do have divergence with the 4 hour here because we broke the top, and we have divergence on the 1 hour. So when you have 4 hour divergence, this is a big flat here, right? There's no reason for them to make such a big one there. If they wanted to go up as an impulse, it's normally move fast, right? And we have 1 hour divergence. We broke the top. So the only question is, when is this finished? This could continue to go because we don't have divergence in this. which means the chances are there's still more momentum to the upside, maybe one more impulse. We get a correction here, we'll go for it, right? Because internally, 1, 2, 3, no divergence, go for the 50 minutes. Maybe one sharp pullback and then go. I could see this probably doing this and then go. We will probably go for that running flat. That makes sense. That's a possibility. So we can make, you have a big one here too. There's a lot of flats here that are, we didn't break that low. So this becomes the impulse, or no, if this is part of that one, that's an up move, a small correction, a small correction. So there's a chance we could get a sharp move here today, right? This would be the impulse starting up, a correction. You got this. So if we get this here, we could get a buy. I think we could look for that. Look for a buy setup above the top. What if it drops lower? Well, let it drop. Let this drop sharp and make a flag. Then these 15 minutes flags are too small to trade, especially if you expect one more up. So I think at least one more move up, and then we'll see what happens if we have divergence internally in this piece. So if this piece gives us divergence, we'll start looking for the downside. But it's a buy today, so let's see if we get a buy setup. Aussie has a perfect flat there, so no question. You're looking for a buy setup at least. You had this one, and remember what we said, Aussie had a perfect correction to go. This was the only little piece that was, kind of putting off the whole thing a little. We tried to trade it, and then eventually we took it up during the news that was an upside, so that turned out well. You got this flat, expanding flat, by the way, because we broke the top and we broke the low. And Aussie is going. Where is Aussie going? Let's look at the 4-hour. Well, it's not convincingly going up, but it can go up, right? Because sometimes you do get sharp corrections, which is pretty much like this. This one is relatively sharp as a correction with a small, thing. I would go, it's possible. So this one also relatively sharp. It's 1, 2, 3. So we can go break the top again. I don't see any problem with us going to break that top again. Of course, we're going to have a lot of divergence. And then we would either go for a deeper correction or return of the low. In the case of Aussie, I don't think we're going back to the low. In the case of Aussie, I think we'll just get a deeper correction because this is a sharp impulse up. But I can see this, even if we break that top, right, starting to make really deep corrections before we go. So a big down move could happen, but not as an impulse like the euro, more like a correction. So euro would still be more interesting to share because remember, this thing has one wave up. Euro actually has one down, one up, and we're looking for this to the euro. Whereas this is with this up, so we can come down, but this would be a correction coming down. And euro down move would be an impulse. So trading the euro might be a better thing than trading the Aussie because each impulse on the euro might be much bigger than the impulses on the Aussie downwards if we're in a corrective structure. But that's just an assumption. What if the Aussie make a big impulse and then a deeper correction? What if the impulses are not shorter, but the corrections are deeper? It will still be a corrective structure. Whereas euro could make similar impulse or smaller impulse, but smaller corrections and drop. So we'll see how they behave, but we know that this is likely going to be correction. Euro is going to be impulse. Here is the question. Are we starting that correction? Could this be the first impulse down in that corrective structure? We do have divergence in the daily, right? I think we have divergence in the daily in the bigger structure. Yeah, we have daily divergence here. See that? So is it starting? Because if it's starting, we're going to make another impulse down. Considering we have divergence here too. We just need this piece to finish. And this piece has divergence on the 15. So maybe one more impulse up here. And then we could go back down. 1, 2, 3. So we get an impulse, take the trade, be cautious because we might have started that deeper correction already. We wouldn't know that. Did it go break the top? Well, if you're lucky, it's going to go very sharp to break the top. If not, it will go small, but it's a buy. We should take it, and then we can manage it. You're just aware of all the conditions you have, and now you manage the trade, but it's a good trade. Get a chance of them even not breaking the top, but coming back to the top. If they're making a corrective, they can come back even to this level and then go back down. And I think there'll be a series of up and down, not just 1, 2, 3. So this is a buy. If it breaks the top, congratulations. That's it. That's a good one. If it doesn't break the top, you can still get positive out of it and get out for some profit. New Zealand, very similar structure as the Aussie, except this has only one sharp wave down. And that is pretty sharp, right? This one has been doing this, going up, going up, going up. And so this, I don't think this is going to go far. I think this is 2 sharp waves. So we might get 3 sharp waves, and then we'll start to get a corrective structure again. Or this one comes down as a correction, and then we get 1, 2, 3, and then we go up. So this is probably staying. This is a flat within this sharp move. So even if you get a buy setup here, and you are getting a buy setup, you'll have to be very, very cautious. See, they're breaking, but I think we were very flat here. So there's a good chance you might get a buy instead of a sell. Right? One more up. This one could be very small. So if you're going to take that trade, you have to be careful that this is pretty sharp. It's 3-wave, but it's pretty sharp. There's a good chance that we haven't leave this corrective structures yet. We're still making either a running flat or an expanding flat. So take this trade if you want. Just be careful. It goes there. You put it to break even and see whether it comes back or it keeps going. 1 second, guys. I have a cold, so I'll have to mute every now and then. Okay, let's go. Sorry about that. Yep. So we can go for this. It might have been a sell if they didn't come back that deep. I see I had the thing. I had the line there already, but then they went deeper. I had the line when they were making the small one, when they were like this, right? But then they went deeper, and I was like, okay, don't worry, sell it. Look for the buy. So let's see if we get the buy today. What if it still dropped? Did we break the top? I don't think we broke the top, right? We didn't break the top. So it could drop. It's rare it's going to drop, but it could drop. What we do is you have to let it drop and make another flag. Don't sell this one because that's a flat for upside. But if it drops deep and then make a flag, we'll say, okay, you know what? Well, it's not a flat for upside. It's just a deep correction for downside. Because I cannot see this being the full correction in a move that is this, this big with that amount of corrections in it. If we're looking at this as the impulse, this can be the correction, right? Just can't be, and it doesn't fit with anything else. So I think there's a good chance this is going to come down. Even if you break the top, it will come down. So if we either break the top and we look for sells afterwards, or they come down here now and make a flag, and then we start selling, right? This could be very corrective coming, or this could be very sharp, and then the correction starts. Drop again, make another correction. I don't know where it's going to be, or which amount of you would need to get it, but we'll see. CAD went down, surprisingly, when it came to this thing. I thought we were going to go back from here, from this low, and they actually went lower because they had this sharp wave here. You can see there's that sharp one there. So I thought this would have been it. This would have been the low, and they'd go, and they didn't do that. So they're still going. This didn't break the low. That was probably the thing we should have noticed. They didn't break the low. Remember, we were wondering why they consolidated here on Friday after that. Why is it not going? Something's wrong. This thing is not going, right? Because they keep consolidating here and they actually drop. So good thing. CAD is almost about to break that low. Take this out. We're about to break this low. And that low is the weekly low on this structure, right? So this one has 3 waves. This one has 3 waves. And this one has a single wave. And that is also possible. We have a lot of these flats where the last wave has one strong wave down, or the first wave has one strong wave and the last one is struggling, right? The diagonal. Now, how low would this go before they go back up? Because they're definitely going back up, right? There's nowhere I see this thing come to the top here, not breaking that, and it's not a flat, right? That is almost close to impossible, right? We haven't seen that. So there's a high probability that we're still going up. Now, the question is, how high are we going? How low are we going to go here before we go back up, right? How much more? Is it going to stay here until the dollar index breaks the low, which means we keep going down until the dollar index breaks the low? Then there's a lot more to go if that's the case, right? If it's going to go back up together, it doesn't have to go together with the dollar index. It could be leading the up move, which means this turns and go up before. Remember, the dollar index is a combination of what these pairs are doing and not the dollar influencing them, right? The dollar value might influence it, but the dollar index is formed because of the combination of these pairs, right? We don't have a dollar chart as such, which shows us dollar price change. So as these changes, we see it in the dollar index. Now, CAD is not the most influential one. The euro is the strongest in relationship to the dollar index, the highest percentage in it. I think this one has the least. So I think this is just going to probably keep going for a while, or it could turn, which means watch it when we break that low. There might be a sell here today. We're just about 30, 40 pips away from that low. And it could go much more lower, but this is where you start being careful. 50 pips. You get a trade there today. There's a sell happening right now. And it could drop 50 pips. Nobody says that can't drop 50 pips. It could drop 50, it could drop 200 pips. Right? We don't know how low they're going to go below. But once they break that low, we can consider the criteria for the patterns are fulfilled. How low it's going to go? Well, that could be part of the impulse continuing to go. It just continuing to make it the C wave a bit bigger than, than the A1. So there is a sell setup there today. Keep your eyes on that one. It's a nice 1 hour flag. Swiss, similar. Swiss has a lot to go. We know that. We knew that from since last week that there's a lot for Swiss to go down. So Swiss, like the dollar index, I think has about 300 plus. Yep, 250. The euro has about 300 too. So there is still about 200 pips we can trade. This was the bigger one, as we anticipated that is going to be the bigger correction. It's a drop, consolidation drop. So you're getting consolidation here. Take that out. That didn't drop far. That was a small one, right? This dropped well. You're getting consolidation. We look for drop again, right? So corrections are over. This turned out to be part of the correction. So you can go with that as all your correction there. Drop, get another one. I think this is an expanding running flat. That's a running flat, sorry. We didn't break the top, but we broke the low. And we're making a smaller one here. I don't think it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a small flag, and then you probably drop, right? So keep your eyes on that. Yen is not doing that. Yen is doing its own thing. And structurally, yen is different. So I think this becomes a big flat in the middle. Whatever this is doing, it's a bigger correction in the middle of this. And that means whatever we're doing here will be a 1, 2, 3 eventually, right? And we'll probably come back down. But this will stay more in this sideways move here for a while. So go back to the 1 hour. We were tracking that piece, and I think it might be over. If we go with the contracting flat, this piece, as the equivalent of this is the contracting flat, then it's over. But if we don't go with that, if we assume that this 1, 2, 3 is down for this one, which is too small, I don't think it's comparable, right? So I think we are completing that flat, and that means you can literally put it like this and put it like this, and we should be going up. But the reason I'm not doing that is, can this wave still drop one more? Can this 1, 2, can this drop one more here and still go back up? It will still be a flat, except this wave is going to have a 3-part structure, 1, 2, 3, and then go. So in that case, come back here and see what we have in here. And the reason I think that is possible is because we're supposed to reverse this very impulsive, but we're not doing that. We're stuck in the sideways here. See? We're stuck in this, and this looks more like a flat to me, right? If you look at this, this looks like a flat, and it looks like a flat that is not, you have 1. You can go with 1, 2, 3. You can come back here. You can go back there, and then you might make one more before you go. So this could be a big flat here. Now you could also make an argument for, okay, this is 1. You get 1, 2, 3 here for a contracting flat. You get a little piece down to finish this one. This whole thing is a contracting flat, and now you're going back up, right? 1, 2, 3, and this just takes off. We don't have a buy setup here. For that to happen now, you have to make sure that you get a buy setup above this stop here before you take trades. But if we get a sell setup, that's definitely a good trade, because we'd assume that this is making a flat and we're coming back here, right? So the sell setup is a good idea. The buy setup, you have to make sure you have a very good flat, and then you'll trade it. The bigger picture, and this is upside, right? We have to complete this. The only question is whether this has one more down and then go up. Or is this going up? Well, give us a flat here and we'll buy. Drop, we will consider the sell, and then we'll look for the buy. Swiss, Euro Swiss, sorry, I should say. We made a low, so the question was whether that is the low. Let's go in the 4 hour. All right, we made a low here, so the question is that the low? If this is the low, then we're looking for a move up. If that is not the low, then we will make one more drop, one more drop, one more drop, and then go. Any amount of drops you can make and then go. So go to the 1 hour, and we have an impulse. We have a very sharp impulse up. Take this out. We have a sharp impulse and a very deep correction. This is what I'm surprised about. The correction is very big. When you have such big corrections, they turn out to be flats, not impulses going up, right? So we got this one, and then we got a sharp one down, and then we're somewhere in the middle here doing probably one more up, one more down, one more up, and then you get a flat, and that means one more down. So there's a very rare case that this is going to take off, so we'll probably just wait in it. Wait for this to finish what it's doing. Maybe if you get a sell from the top, that would be a good idea. If you get a buy from the bottom, that would be a good idea. Euro New Zealand, well, we're in the middle of it. Let's see what we have here. So this correction is becoming bigger. We dropped to this low there. We were thinking Friday. I was thinking Friday that this might make a bigger flat and drop, and that is still open, right? It is still open that is possible because we had this as a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. So there's a good chance that you do this little one, this little piece here. 1, 2, 3 is a 1, a 2, and a 3 here. But it's pretty much in the top half of it. This one came back pretty low. We knew that was going to drop again. This one is at the top half. So maybe this is all, and we go back up. If we're going back up, we're going back up for this one. And then one more down, and then the upside. So let's see now. Go into 1 hour. Sorry, 1 hour. Like I said, this one is not coming as low as this came. See, this one came back very much into the low of the impulse. This one is more like the top half of the impulse. And it's going up. We know there's a trade to the upside here to break this top. That's the minimum. You're looking for a trade there to finish 1, 2, 3, and then downside if they're going to go, or totally upside. So it's worth if we get a setup for the buy. The buy is worth taking because it's either going to break the top here and then come back down, then go, or you'll just continue to go. And this would be all the impulse. And that is okay. That once we broke the low, the impulse is okay. So we will take this buy with the anticipation that this is the one going up. And actually, when it breaks this top, put it to break even. So do we have a setup for a buy there? Well, no. We're willing to take it, but there is no buy setup. See? We could get a buy setup here if this comes back like this and then start to go up. We could go for a buy. I think you have a 1, 2, 3 here. You got a 1, 2, 3 there. This could be a buy. Get that. Let it come back to this low, and then we look for a buy setup. Can it go and drop now immediately? If it drops, let it drop. I don't think so. I don't think this is all the correction. You could make an argument and say, well, what if this is all the correction? And this is actually going to drop like this here and then go, right? This could be all the correction, 1, 2, 3, and this is going to drop now. Well, we can check to see whether we have risk to reward once we break this low, because all they need to do was break that low. You see this previous one? It just broke the low and went to back. This one, see? We tagged that low here. We just tagged the low and then we went to back. Or I don't know if they break it, but that was a 1, 2, 3. Right? So it might just come here. Let me take off this. It might just come here, tag this low. If it is a sell, this piece. Just come here, tag that low and go back up. So if you get risk to reward in a trade like that, you can take it. If not, wait for them to break the low, and then we start to look for that up move, because the up move will have risk to reward. It's a bigger trade, right? It's a big move up like this. So you get good flags, good risk to reward on them, and then we'll see where that goes. I think we can look for it both ways. Either this is still consolidating or a drop is possible here. I could see a drop coming actually. If you go with that as a correction and that could fit as a correction, this could give you a sudden trade. One more down, then up. Whichever way we get the trade, we'll take it because you're in a consolidation and it could go both ways right now. EuroCAD. Okay, this is starting to look interesting. Now that we broke out and we're making a flat at the top there. It's very interesting. See, you broke the low. You broke the low. Go to the 4 hour. Go to the daily. So we might have made a low there. Finally, go back to the 4 hour. we have a sharp impulse and we have a flat. Right at the top there, we have a flat forming right now. Go to the 15 and you can see the internals of that, right? So it's either you can make an argument that this is complete now. 1, 2, 3, a contracting flat in the middle. You would go with this contracting flat here in the middle. Sorry, this one here. Right, 1, 1, 2, 3. Down here, and this is a buy setup. Right, that would be a buy setup. Now, the question is whether this is over, because this is your impulse. And if we get a buy setup from here, we should consider that trade. Now, if that trade doesn't go out and that trade just comes back to the top here and decide to go back down for one more, let's say this one is not over, it's not a contracting flat, then you have one more up, one more down, and then you go. You get break even or profit there. We look for a sell and then we look for a buy. So this trade here is a good one. The buy is the direction you want to go. The buy is always the direction you want to go because the buy has a higher probability of going for a sudden move. So this might be starting that upside. Keep your eyes on it. You want to look at that very much for a buy. Take off this one. Euro yen. Well, it's going already. If anybody took the trade, and there's still more to go. I think there's a lot more upside here to go in the 4 hour. Yep, all the way to the top there. So this didn't come very deep. I think we can take that off. This would be the flat. This would just be a bigger flat for no reason, and we're going. So we'll assume that they're just making a lot of corrections in it. I think it's upside. This could be a correction of its own, and you just keep looking for trades now to the upside. Any correction, any flag, anything, we can look for buy setups. Euros, still in the consolidation. We're still here. We came down. So the question is whether this is going to go back up, right? And I think this should go back up. We were assuming that this is 1, 2. You could go with 3, 4, and look for a 5. But we're breaking that low, so I don't think it's necessary. We could assume that this correction finishes here. We could assume that it finishes there, right? And this is coming down as this one. That is a possibility. And we might be going back up. Right, we can make an argument for that. This turns out to be a 1, 2, 3 wave structure to that top. You can make an argument for that. This is a 1, 2, 3, so it's not the best structure that way. It would have been better if they didn't break out of this structure and just go back up one more. But now that they're coming down, the chances are we're going to go more lower. This is making a flag here, flat, as a matter of fact, up there, and then the chance you drop one more, complete something like this. And then upside again, because the entire structure is incomplete, right? We're still inside of this. So if we look at this as a 1, 2, 3, we still have to go back up, come back down, go back up, and then drop. So can we look at this as a correction? And this is just making a big flat on the down move. Remember the pound had similar one when we thought it's still in the correction, but then it took off to the upside because of the big flat. Well, if you get a sell setup here, you could consider that if you think so. I would say stay away from this and trade something that has a better structure. We have a lot of them that are not in corrections that are making impulses. Euro pound. Okay, maybe we get a buy setup today. Nope, I don't think so. I still think this is the 1, 2, 3. So there might be a buy setup here. But once we break that top, the chance we can come right back down here for this piece. See? So this would be the up move. And if we're lucky, it's over. They're going. And this piece belongs to this. But we have to keep in mind that maybe it doesn't belong to that. And they come right back down before they go. So we can buy this. I think we can buy it in here. If we get a buy setup here. Maybe lower. Buy this, and then when it breaks out, put it to positive and wait to see if they come back down. Because if they don't interfere with it, let them come take you out. So it goes there, you put it to positive. It either comes back like this for this one, take us out, and then we look for a buy again. We'll go with a running flat, right? Or they just take off, and then we'll go with this is all the flat, and this one belongs into that, which is strange, 2 flats immediately, right? Sorry, this is all the flat. So it will be this belongs to this piece, impulse, this, and this takes off. But it's strange to have this in this. So that is why I'm always thinking running flat. Come here, come back here, and then go. Running flat, that could also be expanding flats. So I think you get it. We're looking for the buy. Pound New Zealand. Okay. Let's see if they go back up today. We're anticipating one more move up. But it might be over. Let me take this up. Let's take everything out there. There's a lot of lines there. So let's go into daily. I'm going to put some simple lines now, quick. We broke out of this, right? That's very clear. We're consolidating here for downside. And we kind of have 1, 2, 3 already. If you look at it this way. Let's go into that 1, 2, 3. We could make an argument for 1, for 2, and for 3. Which means if we get a sell set up here today, we go for it. Right? It could be more complex, which means you can make an argument that it gets more complex because this wasn't the sharpest wave up. Right? We had a flat here, we had a correction there, but sometimes you do see them not having much sharp waves in it, right? So go to the 1 hour. Sometimes these waves going up are not that sharp, but they're the impulses, a slow impulse. So it depends on what happens here today. And this is starting to look like a running flat to me in the making, right? With a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if this starts to drop, we want the trade because this drop is going to be huge, right? That means you're dropping out of the entire structure and this could be big downside. So a sell setup here is not a bad idea, right? That's how we trade running flats. If it is not making a running flat, if it is not doing that, but they're trying to go up, this is the end of this piece. And we're trying to make one more up for a more complex pattern, then we'll have to wait for them to break this top and make a flag. And then we go for that trade. Because even breaking this top would just change it into a bigger running flat. Right? We need to break this top to have an expanding flat. We need to break this top here to have an expanding flat. So even if they break that top, they can still come back down. And the downside is looking pretty good now, considering that this is the most corrective part in it, right? This had a big correction here, a big correction. You could even make an argument for a big running flat in this piece here, if you want. Right, because we had corrections here and corrections here. Right, so this is a flag. You got a big running flat, you got a sharp move down, you broke the low, and then you did this. Well, not the most. We wanted to buy this, remember, and it didn't go as sharp as we expected. But that doesn't mean it can't be the flat. So I think we focus on the sell here today. Or if they do go back up for one more to the top there, right? If we do go back up for one more to the top here, and then come down, we're looking for the sell. So either we get the sell here, or we get the sell from there, and we may or may not get that buy. That depends on whether you get a correction before you, when you break that up for the buy setup, whether you get a flag or not. Yen. So okay, we're in this whole thing. We came back almost to the top. We didn't break the top, but we were almost at the top. So if this is a flat of its own, or I don't know if we can look at all of this as some kind of a bigger flat. I don't think it's possible. This was a perfect running flat. If this is a flat, we'll go break the top, and then we can look for the downside. All right, that's one option. The second option, well, it's not a flat, right? That is not a flat. This is the impulse down. We're making some kind of a correction here. A little weird one, but some kind of a correction there, right? Probably drop back here, maybe make another one and then drop. Or it doesn't look good for that because this would be the B part. If this is a correction, this here would be the B part of it, right? This would be 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I don't like this whole thing. We'll have to come back here and go back up for this one, right? We'll have to go back up for this one and then we can drop. So if they do that, if you see a drop and up and then go, probably yes. But if not, we can put these together. This is a flat of its own here, and we're just going up to break the top. Once you break the top, start to look for sell. So I'll take this off. and we just wait and see which one they give us today. Do we have a buy setup? Maybe if we get a flag. We don't have a flag, I said, but if we do get a flag, that would be a buy setup. Put it like this, and we can make an argument for a contracting flat here, which by any means could become a running flat. All right, so if we get a sell setup, we could go with it. A buy setup would be breaking this top. That would work as well, but you need a bigger flag for the buy. Punkat. Okay, let's see where we are in the bigger picture here. We're looking for the upside now. So they might all go a little more up. I think, you know, because Punkat is definitely, unless it's the CAD that's going to move this up. Right? The CAD dollar takes off to move this, because this will happen. This one happened, that one will happen. All right, so do we have a buy setup? Well, if we get it, we're definitely going for this trade. If there's a buy setup on all the pound trades, this is the one you want to go with, right? This one. So what do we have in here? Let's see. It's probably over. You can make an argument for 1, 2, 3. And this is just a flag for upside, right? If it comes back down like this, then we will incorporate this into it. We'll put this into the pattern, right? Right now, I think that could stand alone. But if they come back here, that will be part of the pattern and then the upside. But right now, we're looking for a buy. And an entry order here is a good idea. Entry order for that buy here is a good idea. If it comes lower, we'll take off the entry order and we'll look for a different setup. Pound Oz. Big picture downside. Let's see what happens there. This one, just like the pound New Zealand, has this 1, 2, 3, except this is different. These two are sharp, and this one is very much the consolidation. So this would definitely go back up, right? You have 1, 2, 3. We will definitely go back up for this and then drop. Right? This one is almost sure, because there is no way thinking that this, like in pound yen, this was the pound New Zealand, this was the most corrective one. In this case, you're clearly knowing, we clearly see this is the most correct one. So I think at some point, whether they break the low or not, we're looking for one more move up and then downside. Right? So let's see if we get a buy setup here sometime today. Let's see. Not as yet. And we don't have anything as yet. But this was a sharp move down. So if that ended the structure, wait for a flag here and we buy. We get a flag here today, we can go for the buy. Euro pound. I think we did that. Sorry, it was on pound Oz. Pound Swiss. Let's see what the big picture says. I'm not sure what the heck this piece is doing here. There's like no understanding what's going on here. We had a perfect setup here for a running flat. And could it be that this is just doing this and then go with a long drawn out running flat here? B-wave squeeze. By the way that is going now, and you can see the divergence, it's telling us that they're going to eventually go up. But it's hard to tell what the pattern is, because you can either put these separate. This is an impulse up. You can go with that as an impulse up. Put this too, which means if you get a sell setup here, not a bad idea. Right? But the downside is limited because of the divergence. So I think we just stay away from trading this today. Tomorrow we'll come back to it. Aussie CAD, you're getting a flat. Right? You had a 1, 2, 3, you broke the top. That's a good sell setup. You have 1, you have 2, and you're getting 3. If you get a sell setup, go for the trade. If we get a sell setup somewhere, we can go trade it like a running flat, an expanding flat. But if you get a flag here, that's a better deal. Flag for a sell would be good there. Aussie New Zealand. Stay away from this for now. Aussie Swiss. 4 hour. We're in the middle of nowhere, just like the Aussie, it's a Euro Oz. We're in the middle of nowhere. So all of this looks like they have to go back up to the top, come back down, and then go. Let's see if we have any buy setup in it. No, Probably stay away from it. You're getting some consolidation here, but these are big consolidation. So if they come back here and go back up, it's more within this flat pattern, right? It's more within that. So I'll avoid trading this. Let's stay away from this one. Aussie yen. Okay, a little more up, and then we can look for the downside. There might be a little more up there because we're in this pattern. And it looks like we're making a series of running flat. Now, it's either two ways. This was the running flat, and this is a slow climb. Right? If that is the case, if we take this out, and remember we had this as the running flat, which is perfect until this thing started to make a lot of corrections here, right? This here was perfect until this thing started to go up really slow. Now, it could also still be a slow climb. Take this off. It could still be that they're climbing very slow, you know, with a lot of corrections in it. Not that I think it needs to be that way. It should be faster. But now they're moving. So look for buy setup until we break the top. There's still more to go. And then we'll see what happens. We're going to have divergence, a lot of divergence on all time frame. So if you get a buy setup, just be careful with it. Take it, but be cautious because there's a lot of divergence, which means any one of these could be the last one, especially when you break the top. So you take the profit off, and then we see where, you know, you take an impulse, you take the profit off. It makes a correction, give you another impulse, you take the profit. Then we start to look for the sell setup. New Zealand yen. We broke the top already, right? So this could literally go down now, right? This is what we have. We have this sharp move down. Well, it's not sharp, it's a three-wave structure. But this is smaller than this. See that? And that means there's a possibility we go down, make another three-wave structure here, and then go up. We broke the top, so that would be a running flat. Now let's go look at it in the 4 hour and see. Yeah, this one is bigger than this one. Bigger than or equal. I think it's bigger. We'll see. We're at the top there, but it's not going very aggressive. It's not like they're trying to start a big impulse because we have divergence here. We have a flat. We broke the top and we have divergence. If we get sell set up here, we should go for the trade. If it stays there longer, make a flag. Every buy is the last impulse up until the structure completes itself. But the sell is a good idea. Let's put this for a sell and see what happens. We'll keep that as an idea for a sell. New Zealand Swiss. I think some more downside and you have a nice flat here for the sell. One more drop. Yep, something like this, you got that. Something like this, you got like this. See this? You're getting this one here for a drop, So we look for a drop, correction, drop. We're in this structure, we're dropping. Yep, I think one more downside is possible here. Breaks this low, and then we're going to look for the upside, right? We definitely need to break this low. So it's coming down here, break that low, and then we'll see if we get the upside. Go for the sell. I don't see a buy setup, I see a sell setup, so we can go for the sell. See? New Zealand, but eventually that, let me just warn, because traders are going to go crazy when this doesn't happen to them, right? Eventually this thing is going out. So if it just drops like this and tag the low slightly with a couple pips and take off, you have to know that once we tag that low, it's finished, right? They can take off. Can they actually don't tag that low, but tag this low, right? Just do this and then take off. Can we look at this as a bigger flat, right? This is your up move. That's a bigger flat and we're going up, right? And this is all the correction. See this? You got one, you have 1, 2, 3 down. That is all the correction. Let me just change that around a little for you. What if this is all the correction? And instead of going to the low, we just come and tag this low here. Make a bigger flat here. And then go up. That is also possible, but because they're making such a big flat in here, I don't think we've completed. I think we're just making one more impulse down for a much more for a complex pattern. One more down and then up. So the big picture is up. If you want to let all of that happen and then look for the buy setup, that's a good idea. Or you can try to trade inside of here, which is a small trade. This here. Go with it to first break this low. Go with it to first break that low. and then totally break the entire low. Should be this. And then the upside. So which one of those two? Well, we can trade it still and then see which one it is. You can get break even. New Zealand CAD. Okay. We're probably looking downside. Start look like we have a flat here. So one more drop through the low. This could be a correction of its own. That sell is a good idea. I like it. And there's a lot more to go downwards. We're coming to break this low. So downside has a lot. That 1 hour flag is a good one. Swiss yen, sorry, CAD yen. Much more upside. So we will go with, I don't know. We still have this big correction in here that is not making sense with this piece because we're not going to go with that as a 1, 2, 3. Unless we do the opposite and we put this as a contracting flat, right? So like 1, 2, 3. Not really. I think we just be careful with any trades here. Buys or sell. We don't have anything for a buy, anything for a sell. We did break the top. You can make an argument for this as a running flat or two separate flats, and we're about to break the top. So maybe one more impulse here and then start looking for downside. Just about one impulse. A lot of the trades are in consolidation to finish off some kind of a bigger structure, and then we'll see. We'll definitely get some good trades. CAD Swiss. One second, guys. Give me a second, please. Let me just clear my nose. It's blocked, totally blocked. Man, this is getting. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. This cold is killing me, man. It's not physically killing me, it's just mentally killing me. Just blocking the nose, and this is the cold you get. They don't affect you physically, but they just mess with you. I woke up 1 in the morning and can't sleep, and then I had to take one of these medicines called Teraflu. It helps with the blocking the symptoms. So the sneezing and the thank God I'm not sneezing now. The sneezing and the cold and the blocking of the nose goes away, but it makes you sleep. I went back to sleep and woke up till 6 in the morning. So anyway, let's go. Yeah, CAD Swiss. Where we are in the bigger picture in the CAD Swiss. Kind of look like we're gonna make one more down because this looks very corrective. So they might go up one more here, but then the possibility is you're going to make one more down like this and then probably go up. Let's see if we have the buy or the sell set up for now, which is it doing right now. I think we still have one sharp wave more up like this. There's one more sharp wave like that and then the downsides, but probably stay away from it. No good buy or sell setup. Swiss yen. Swiss yen is at the very top of a structure. We broke the daily structure. We broke that daily structure, see? And we are still pushing high. They can push all the way to that top if they want. So any buy setups will take because it's an impulse going up, right? Go to the 1 hour. And if you get a buy setup, we'll take the trade. But right now, we don't have anything. And if they turn, we will absolutely go for the sell. So we don't know that it's turning. It has to do this. It has to do this. And then we'll look for that down. So if we get a turn, great. We don't have anything turning. So don't try to be too early in this one. Let's go. Copper. Copper broke the top. It's going very aggressive. So let's see where we are. And the bigger picture is not that a big deal breaking the top. It's just you're assuming that we're going to make a running flat. Right, at some point, it looks like a run. We never broke this structure, and they never broke that low, so it still looks to me like they're making a 1, 2, 3. But let's see. Let's wait. I don't have more of this to see where it's coming from, what it's doing. But what we had, this was clearly, you know, some kind of a 1, 1, 2, 3, and then come back here. But that didn't happen, so we'll just wait. You don't have to trade copper until we're pretty sure. I'll check for the bigger chart today on the internet, and then we'll figure out whether this is the top of an impulse or what. But it's going still. So if you get buy setups, maybe you go for it. And if you get a buy setup now that we broke out, if they consolidate above the top, it means they're going to continue to go. If they reverse, it's an absolute sell. So if I get a reversal, I'm selling, and I could sell it on the 15. If I get a good reversal on the 15, we could sell. It's an extreme level. So if this makes a flag here, we'll go for that. So we know how to manage those trades to get break even in the worst case scenario, right? Oil, it's kind of, I think we can see a running flat forming here. I think there's a possibility for a running flat here. We're out. This is the arrow for the upside. We're expecting one more up. They could or could not break. They might or might not break the top, which means you're going to have a running flat or regular flat. But I can see this going up, and there's a possibility we're looking at a running flat forming right now. See this? I'll take off the arrow, should come from here. And I could see a possibility for a running flat here. Right, so we're likely going to go tag the top once more, break out of this, and so look for the buy setup. If it's going to go look for a buy setup, I think it's very likely going to happen. UK oil, same. You have the same pattern. You have this sharp move down. You got a flat here, and you got another sharp move down. That's a perfect running flat. If you get a buy setup here, look for it. Where you get a setup done, don't just click the trade. Because you click it and it starts to drop, and it will not be a running flat. Running flats have to confirm they're running flats. We have to confirm that this is actually a running flat. And it has to break through the top. Otherwise, it will not be a running flat, and we'll relook at it for some contracting flats or anything else, right? But right now, it looks like a run flat. If it breaks the top, we're going to break that top. So it's a good trade. What is this? Oh, you have a sell setup here. It's a perfect 15-minute sell setup. What's the bigger picture? Natural gas. Oh, look for the buy. Forget about the sell. Let it drop back to this level, and then look for the buy. See? So there's a short, very short sell, but then the bigger picture is the buy. So look for the buy. Probably let this drop a little here. It's going to give you one drop, and then you're looking for the big picture to the upside. Wait for the break of the top. US 30. Okay, that was a buy from here, and it's a buy there, and I think there's a buy here on Friday. There are more buys coming. See, there's a flat there, and then you got more buys coming maybe. Could still go how high it's going. We have divergence in 4 hour. We have divergence in daily. We have divergence in 1 hour. No 1 hour divergence. That is this last piece here. No divergence. So a small correction, there's another move up. Right? We don't have 1 hour divergence. So if you get a correction here, you get another impulse up. And then you can look for divergence. NAS 100. NASDAQ, where's it going? Take this out. It's kind of make a low here, but I don't see this. We have two structures here playing right now, right? The bigger structure is a running flat, which is this coming back to this level. That's one. But then this one broke the top, so it's still open for a possible running flat, in this case expanding flat, make a new high, and then come. So we're open for both of those to see if this running flat is actually a running flat. Because in that case, you could, if it not, then we'll go with a contracting flat here, making a top and then come back, right? So if you get sell set up here to take the trade, if they actually turn out to be a flat, go for the buy. So there's a flag forming there now. Either that flag becomes a flat with another impulse up. If you get this here and it drop like this, that's a good one, but they could drop like this and go back up, and this becomes a flat for the upside. So this would be a break-even trade. I think it's worth going for the sell. There's a big move to the downside. S&P 500, buy setup, perfect running flat buy setup. This actually did exactly the way we expected to go. Well, if S&P 500 is going up, 30 is going up, then Nasdaq 100 will go up too. DAX, we're going to break that top. That's almost sure. We realized that when we saw this pattern, and we looked back and we said, oh, there's a pattern like that here. So we're going to break the top, and we're going to have a lot of divergence. This thing is going down really, really, really slow. I mean, it's moving fast, but if you look at the bigger structure, we're going up slow with a lot of divergence inside. So 4 hour, you're going to see a lot of divergence. See divergence there. And we have divergence between the first one and the second impulse after this correction. See that correction there? You got an impulse up, you get this, and this is crawling up. It's crawling up. Now, how much more they can crawl? That's a never-ending structure. That thing can go on forever, but every time they break the top in a structure like that, they drop, right? So I showed this last week in our trading room. We broke the structure, we pull back. We broke the structure, we drop. We broke the structure, we drop. We broke the structure, we drop. We broke this one. Well, this one went a little, but then they pull back. This one went sharper, but now, once you break this one, you came back. So I think when we break that, we might get a small correction and then go. So it's not breaking the structure you want. You want to get it way before. And the way before was a buy setup here last week. I think we had a buy setup in this one. And we had this flag, and then we get another flag, and then another flag. You can see one of the flags here in the 15 minutes. That was on Friday. You could buy the break of that. It's still going. So I think we might see a running flat forming here now. A smaller running flat. That's a possibility. An upside. So if it keeps coming down sharp like that and it turns and give us a flag, we'll buy. They'll make a flag inside of it. They make a lot of flag inside the structures. If they drop further and then make a flag for downside, we sell. Without an impulse, which means it doesn't make an impulse up. It just makes a correction. They're flat, and then we look for sells. But I think we're breaking that top first. So I would assume that this is going to come here, break the top, and then they will go into deeper consolidation and continue to go up. AU200, yep, like I said, they have to break that top. It just has to break that top to complete the pattern before they go. They do that every time. So because we've got a big running flat here, right? Remember this one, this big running flat. So very likely that will go break it up. How much it goes above the top is, well, wild guess, wherever you like it to go. But we need to break that up. We didn't get this down, so we'll go with a contracting flat to take this off. We'd go with this as a contracting flat then, because we didn't get that. Or we're going to get that in the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a sharp drop here and then go back up for this. All right, so be careful of the sell early until we break it up. Or you just make a flag here and go up. There's not a good trading, not a big trading to the upside. Leave it, let it break the top, see how far it goes, and then we look for the sell. If when they break the top, they consolidate, well, you continue to buy. But just into the top is a bad idea. Nifty. Okay. Not breaking out as yet. I don't think so. There's a high probability for this to go down. See this? Come back here. If it breaks out, any flag it makes is a buy setup. Once we get a flag. But if it starts to come down, you can look for a sell setup here back to the low. And then the upside. Right? The bigger picture is upside. If you get a sell setup here, it might not be a bad idea. You don't have any, but if it did start to come down and give you a flag, that's a good sell. Sorry. UK 100. Let's see where this is going. More up. What's a big picture? Okay, that's not it. There's much more to it than that. I don't have the big picture, but it looks like a running flat is missing. Look, we're missing this. So watch it. They can come down and do this anytime and then go. See? Complete this running flat, and then you can go. So I'll be careful of any buys here now. As a matter of fact, if you get a sell, it's a good idea. See if we have a sell. Not yet, but if it becomes a sell setup, that's a very good idea. Tesla, more downside. I think we're going to go down some more. It's already showing more downside than the upside. Amazon works like magic, right? It's coming down. You're getting a flag here. We go for this trade, and then we're going to go for that trade. See? So let's see if this completes itself totally. I think somebody made, Victor told me somebody made a video. I can't remember who, sorry. My fault. If I could check it. Well done. I like it. Amazing video, chopping up all the pieces and putting it together in very short pieces, an 8-minute video. What I would advise you to do is wait for this to finish and then continue it. Let it finish this and finish that and just redo that video. That'd be amazing. Or put it in YouTube. Thanks a lot. I can't remember who looked at that. Man, I saw it late yesterday. I'll have to check it back. Somebody made it. Any the person in the room? Well done. Good job. Love it. Let's see. SLR. Breaking out as we expected. So it's more upside. Keep trading. Buy now because you're coming to break this top. So buy setups are good. BA Finance. They're consolidating. So I think we'll go up more. I think this belongs to something else in the past. We'll have to check. Oh, no, it didn't. So when you break this top, you want to be careful if and when you break that top because you have divergence and the chances are this is something we don't have as yet. Right? I don't have all the charts, but it doesn't look like we have that. So be careful. You can get a drop anytime. And Reliance, consolidating. You're going to break these lows. You're going to go lower. Right? They're going to come lower and then go back up. PayPal, coming down as well. Nothing new, right? PayPal. So I think these are moments I need to start fix them because when I was doing this webinar and I said, well, PayPal doesn't have a lot to go. It's going to drop. One trader was like, why you think PayPal is going to drop if you think, I think it was Amazon or one of them is going to go up a little more because of the difference in the structure, right? And this did drop very quick. It didn't go very far and they're dropping. And I wouldn't be surprised if they drop through the bottom here. But once you break this with upside, the problem is this is too small. So if that is too small, we need more corrections. Time-wise, that's a very small correction. So they're probably going to stay here for a much, much bigger structure. And what are the possibilities they go up for one more impulse to the upside here and then come down? Not very high, but possible. It's possible. It's not the highest probability I'm looking at. Right? Because we don't have divergence and this is already consolidating here. So if it consolidates fall, you should be in the trade. And Russell's. Yep, one more up. We figured that out pretty quick that this thing is going to go one more up. And then we'll see if we're ready for the downside. This reversal point is a very nice one. We'll have to check the whole charts. I didn't check the entire charts to see what, but I like that reversal point, especially with this. So we get a trade there, and then we're looking for the sell. There's one more to the upside, and then you look for the sell. See? Pretty easy. There's a buy setup there today. And then we start looking for that sell. Okay, let's go. Bitcoin going up. Nothing new, right? It's going to go up and break that up because they just finished this. And I think they're going to slowly work there up to break that up. Now, do you want to be the last person to exit this thing? I know I repeat this almost every day. But the question is not sinking into people. I want you to ask yourself the question. It's not sinking in. A lot of traders are still convinced this thing is going to 100,000, 200,000. And it's going to be the thing, right? And one trader, I think, I said, well, what is the value? What value does Bitcoin has? What value does it create? Not what value does that. We know what value it has. It's valued 59,000. What value does that create? If you have a Bitcoin in your wallet, let me phrase the question differently. If you have a Bitcoin in your wallet, let's say you have 10 Bitcoins in your wallet, except for the price change, what value does that have to you? What can you do with it? What can you create out of it? Not much, right? You can just pay for some things that some people will accept because of its value in relationship to the dollar. But that you're actually using the dollar value to buy because that person will take it and convert it and get its dollar value. It's not creating value as such. So here's the problem with that. I think traders are convincing themselves. He says demand plus scarcity equals value. Well, I don't know where you got that formula from. Well, you can make an argument for that, because if I want to buy a painting and there's a demand for the painting and that the artist is dead, we know that gives a lot of value, right? But the painting itself is not creating any value. I'm not talking about what is the real value or what is the value, what is the fictitious market value. I'm talking what real value does it have? None. Just like your painting, right? If there is no demand for your painting, the next day the price will drop. If nobody else wants to buy it at the price you buy it, you can never get a higher price. The only way you get a higher price is for somebody to come along, right? There have to be more buyers coming along and said, well, I can pay more for it. It doesn't have any other value. You can't take the painting and make something out of it, right? If there's a war tomorrow, your painting is pretty much worthless because nobody will want to buy it. Just make it extreme, right? If there's a fire, it burns down and that's it, right? Basically, it doesn't create, you can't use it to create value. You can't take the painting and make something out of it. Right? If I don't think it's my fault. I can't explain it properly what I want. A lack of language or maybe to explain. I'm not an economist. I don't know exactly what the formula would be, but I have the common sense to tell you that it doesn't. If tomorrow Bitcoin crashes, you're left with that in your pocket and there's nothing you can do with it. There's nothing you can do with that you left it in your pocket. And that's my point. I'm not saying you can't trade it and make money. Any Ponzi scheme makes money for people who get out first. And that's the whole point of these bubbles. And if you remember the tulip bubble, at least tulip had more value than Bitcoin because you could actually do something with the tulips, right? You can make vase, you can, there are things you can do with it and you can sell it if you're left with it, right? If you bought, I don't know, $1 million of tulip bulbs and it crashes on you, you can go plant a farm. And maybe 10 years after, you'll make $1 million in tulips, right? But you can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't go plant it in a farm and grow. It doesn't have any, it can't create value as such. Now, I hope you can convince yourself of whatever you want to believe. That's okay. There are enough people convincing themselves that this thing is going to go up and that is why it's going up. It's mass convictions, put it that way. When a great mass of people convince themselves that they can make money out of it, they will continue buying it until one person wakes up and said, hey, the king is naked. And then everybody said, wait a second, the king is actually naked. And then you are going to realize that whatever you have in your wallet is not worth anything. Now, I'm not saying that is going to happen. Don't start saying, oh, he's predicting crash of Bitcoin. I'm saying it's a possibility, right? I'm saying that is a possibility because if you're left with that Bitcoin, let's say you bought gold and you bought Bitcoin and both crashes, price drop, boom, price is at zero for both of them. Can you do something with the gold? And can you do something with Bitcoin? That's my question. Let's say you bought corn and both price crash. Can you do something with corn? Can you do something with the Bitcoin? Let's say you bought a currency and it drops. Can you still use the currency that the lower price that is dropped to do something with it? Well, yes. You might be less value, but you can still do something with it. It still work. You can still go to the shop and buy clothes with it. It's not the best analogy. The best analogy is the gold one. Because what you're going to do, you can take the gold and you make jewelry and you add value to it and you sell it. Take Bitcoin, make jewelry, add value to it and sell it. Try that. So I'm not telling you, don't buy it or whatever. I'm just saying that in reality, if you think it's an instrument you can trade, and if you know wave analysis, perfect. You can master getting money out of it. So the traders who are thinking that I am the crazy one, okay, congratulations, go ahead. I'm just using common sense and said, show me the value in it. I remember the last time I asked everybody, where is the money, the fiat money that nobody wants? Right? Just imagine somebody create a cryptocurrency for a joke and it became a big thing. That tells you that the whole thing is a joke. Literally, it became a big thing because it's a joke. That's the whole point. Right? So the US 2000 I should put. Okay, we'll look at that. We can. I don't know which one you guys want to look at, but I'll look at that if anything. Somebody said I should change Russell, so I'll do that. So Bitcoin, it's gonna go up. Here's a good thing: you can make money because they'll break this top, and then how far after that, I have no idea. It's an impulse. It once you break the top, it's qualified for time to drop. But that doesn't mean it will drop. It means it can still go and go and go as long as they're willing buyers. As long as they're willing buyers in the market, the price will raise. That's all. Just willing buyers. And as long as a lot of people convince themselves, and here's the problem where traders get caught up and end up don't make money in Bitcoin. So you bought Bitcoin here, you sold it here, you made money, right? You take that money and you buy Bitcoin here, and you sold it here, you made money, right? You got more money now. You take that money and you buy Bitcoin here, and you sold it here, you made money, right? Now you bought Bitcoin here, and you sold some here, you made money, right? All of that money you're taking now. If you don't take out the money out of the table, but you're reinvesting all the money, and you reinvest the money to buy here, all of it. Bitcoin comes here. You didn't sell, and Bitcoin does this. You're back at square one. So if you're convincing yourself that this thing is going to get thing, take out some money. If you made money, take some out. Keep taking off some of the money that nobody wants, right? And then when if and when it does drop, you will still have money, right? That's the only thing. Ripple, one of our traders make very good. A lot of them made, but one of them made amazing good on it. And I still think it's upside. This one is going. It's going slowly, but you have to be careful when they do this. They eventually come back here and go. I'm not expecting them to do that, but it's possible. They're moving slow. When they start to move slow like that, it means you make a bigger correction. Okay, upside. All of them. They're buying. You get buy setups. You got to be careful. This is the only one you have to be careful because we broke the top already. See, this was the flat, but we broke the top. So this doesn't have to go a lot more. There's still more upside, but you might see a consolidation here before you go, right? If you get a flag at the top there, buy. It broke the top, so if it make a flag, buy. But if not, it could be a running flat, so be careful with this. Ethereum still going. I think we're away from the top, or no, we broke the top already, so this you just have to be careful, right? This was the one I was telling people to buy to come and break this top. Remember this bottom here? And it was at the bottom here, and I was like, okay, guys, you could invest in this one to come and break that top. Even if you close the trade here, you still did well, right? But if you kept it, okay, this is the next Bitcoin, right? So which is the next one that will go? This is moving really fast. I'm not sure if you want to buy there, but if you want to buy, let's see if we have a buy setup. Nope, it's gone already. You have to wait for another correction. Wait for another correction, and then buy. Dash. Dash is now starting to go, so you might still have a chance at this one. It's now going. Have we broken the top? Nope, not as yet. So if you want to get something that could go break this top, go for Dash. This is the next big potential one. If they're going to push it, you have a flat. You're making flags. You're going to go. So you can go look at this. This is the next. This one hasn't gone as yet to the top. So all of them have actually got back there. So wait for correction. You're making correction here. Go for the trade. LRC, let's see what this is doing. It's going up, but not as aggressive as I would like. I can see this, and this is starting to go up. So yes, upside. Look for the trade when it gets to the top here. Put it to positive and make sure that it breaks out. Expect this to come back down. I think this should come back down here. It's not looking very aggressive. I don't think this is part of this piece here. And this is the separate one of its own. So you might come back to this level and then go up. So there's a chance for a downside there. This one is upside. You have a flat here. See? You're getting a flat here. That's upside. And let's go. LTC, upside. That's the top. Now we're going to break the top. So this is one call to buy as well, to go break the top. See that? This one, well, when they break the top, they normally move quite a lot up. So I think this could still have chance to go up some more. If you get buy setups, go for it. If you get a flag here for a buy, you can go. It will break the top, and there's a chance that it goes much more than the top. And ADA, this one broke the top already. Yep. So, no, we didn't. Yeah, we do. Sorry, I just saw this. We broke the top already, so it's anybody's call how high it's gonna go. You're getting divergence already, so I'll be careful. I'll be very careful with it. So some broke the top, and some are still in consolidation. This would come back. I'll be careful on buying this. I wouldn't go with it. So, okay, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you watched to the end. Have a great week ahead of you. Trade with care, make money. And I would see all of you next week. I'll see my traders in a couple of minutes once I close the room, right? We're still in trading room. So have a great week ahead of you, and trade with care. Thank you. Bye-bye.